This is Counterpoint, and I'm your host, Tanya Granick-Allen. The judicial system is the battleground where our civil liberties are tested and tried. Certainly, COVID propelled many free speech cases and bodily autonomy cases to the forefront. But there are other non-COVID cases still percolating through the system. And what happens with this legislation, or rather litigation, it matters to you and me. If a decision is made by the courts against a health worker vaccine mandated out of a job, what precedent does that set for other healthcare workers? If the courts rule against a public worker speaking out as a private citizen on a controversial issue, where will that leave freedom of expression? Where do all of our rights stand as these cases work their way through the system? Well, joining me now to walk us through some of the litigation is John Carpay, president of the Justice Center for Constitutional Freedoms. John, thank you so much for joining me again. It's always a pleasure to have you on.
Glad to be with you, Tanya.
So let's start unpacking some of these cases, because it seems the JCCF still manages such a plethora of cases. There are, sadly, so many challenges to a lot of our civil liberties. So let's talk about the Constable Briscoe case. Tell us what that's about.
So Constable Briscoe is in Windsor, Ontario, has an exemplary record of service. He was on unpaid leave for not getting injected with COVID vaccine when he donated $50 to the Freedom Convoy. And as you know, those names were illegally hacked and illegally posted on the internet. Somehow this came to the attention of the Windsor police, which found him guilty of discreditable conduct for this $50 donation, punished him with 2 weeks of pay loss, like work for free for 80 hours. And so the Justice Center is providing lawyers to Constable Briscoe. It's an important case from the standpoint of the freedom, not just of police officers, but doctors, nurses, lawyers, engineers,
Anyone.
everyone to donate. It also raises the issue: was it appropriate for the police to make use of illegally acquired information? The hacking
Right.
that was illegal, and can police simply make use of illegally acquired information in that fashion?
Well, actually,
And
let me ask you about that, because, maybe we've watched too much, law and crime on TV or whatnot. But I always was under the assumption that any evidence obtained illegally is not admissible in a court of law. Now, this is not a court of law. This is merely not just merely, but it's an employer-employee dispute, I guess you could say. So can that, it's the police, right? These are enforcers of the law, of the legal system. Should they be using that evidence?
I don't think so. And I'm not. I was not able to observe the hearing. I know that our lawyer did raise that issue, and so it's one of the issues that's on the table for sure. But there's a real threat to freedom of expression when you have you see the College of Psychologists going after Jordan Peterson, or you see the colleges of registered nurses in Saskatchewan or British Columbia going after nurses. Law societies are terrible. They've gone after lawyers over criticizing COVID court rulings, etc. If we allow these professional associations to censor teachers and engineers and doctors and lawyers, then that's going to spread like a cancer to every profession, and ultimately to all Canadians.
But I think it's already spread like a cancer, because I think a lot of Canadians already engage in self-censorship. Oh, I better not do that in case, Big Brother or the government or, their employer sees it, and that could be deemed unacceptable. I mean, even when we're dealing with the Israel-Hamas situation right now, different organizations or different employers, depending on what side or what opinions you express, will come down with a hammer.
There's a good case in point that people should be free to express their views, and we cannot live with a criterion of offensiveness. There's a lot of Canadians say, "Oh, I support free speech, as long as it's not offensive." Well, no, free speech in a free society is about the right to offend other people by saying something that the majority thinks is wrong or false,
Right.
And that's what it's there for. As a
I'm going
Supreme
to pause
Court
you
said,
there. I'm going to pause you there. We have to cut to commercial break, but we're going to pick this right back up in just a few moments.